Chosen one. Heaven has paused your world for this moment. Everything around you may seem still, but in this stillness, something divine is unfolding. The silence that surrounds you tonight is not empty. It is sacred. It is the sound of God preparing to reveal who you are becoming next. You are not overlooked. You are not forgotten. You are seen, deeply, completely, and purposefully. The whisper that has been tugging at your spirit is heaven's reminder that you are part of a story written before time began. You have felt it, haven't you? The quiet pull, the invisible weight, the knowing that something in you has been changing. You've sensed that life as you knew it no longer fits who you are becoming. That discomfort is not punishment, it is transformation. God is awakening the next version of you, one molded by trials, refined by tears, and anointed by endurance. Every moment of confusion has been a cocoon, every silence a divine classroom. Listen carefully, chosen one. There are no coincidences when heaven moves. This message did not find you by accident. It found you because heaven is speaking directly to your destiny. For too long you have questioned your worth, doubted your purpose, and wondered if your pain had meaning. But right now, heaven leans close and whispers you were never abandoned, only hidden for the appointed time. It is written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 45, verse 3. I give hidden treasures riches in secret places so you may know I am the Lord who calls you by your name. Did you hear that? Chosen one. He calls you by name, not by your failure, not by your shame, not by your mistakes. He calls you by the name. Heaven knows the name connected to your purpose. That is why certain people couldn't stay. That is why certain paths closed. Because the version of you that is emerging is too rare to be understood by everyone. You are entering a season of revelation. Heaven is about to confirm what your spirit has been sensing all along, that you are chosen for transformation. You are moving from the shadows of preparation into the light of manifestation. What was once hidden will soon be undeniable. The same people who wondered where you went will soon see what God has been doing in you all along. But before He reveals you to the world, He reveals Himself to you. That's why you feel this stirring, this spiritual sensitivity, this holy restlessness. It's not anxiety, it's alignment. Heaven is drawing near. You are being invited into a deeper awareness of who you are in God. You are not just surviving, you are being sculpted into a vessel of revelation. Beloved, do not despise the season that felt like silence. Heaven was working behind the curtain, preparing to announce your name in places your feet haven't yet touched. You will not have to fight for recognition. You will not have to beg for validation. God Himself will confirm your identity. The shift is already happening. You can feel it in your spirit before it appears in the natural. And when it does, remember it's not about the spotlight, it's about stewardship. God is entrusting you with influence not for status, but for impact. You were created to carry His glory in places that have forgotten His name. You are light in the midst of confusion. You are a sign that God still writes stories from broken beginnings. So take this moment as your divine confirmation. You are being unveiled. Heaven is no longer hiding you. You are stepping into visibility not because you chased it, but because you endured the process. The next version of you is anointed, aligned, and awakened, chosen one. This is your call to respond. Lift your head, straighten your crown, walk in the authority that was always yours. You've been in the waiting room of destiny long enough. Now the doors are opening. If this word resonates in your spirit, don't scroll away in silence. Like, share, and comment to declare your faith publicly. And subscribe to stay aligned with every prophetic message heaven releases through this space, because you are not just a listener, you are part of the remnant God is raising. Type in the comments below the number 777 as a prophetic act of agreement that you receive the unveiling of who you are becoming next. Let heaven see your response. You've carried more than most will ever understand. The weight on your shoulders wasn't punishment, it was preparation. Heaven has been strengthening you through storms that others never even saw. You've survived betrayals that should have broken you, losses that should have silenced you, and nights that seemed endless. Yet here you are, still standing, still believing, still breathing faith into the air. That's not weakness. That's evidence of divine endurance. Chosen one, the tears you've cried in secret were never wasted. Every time you whispered, "God, why me?" heaven recorded it. Every sleepless night was seen. Every battle you fought alone was noted. You may have felt invisible to the world, but you were never unseen by the one who called you. There are lessons that only pain can teach, and there are strengths that only struggle can reveal. The weight was heavy because your destiny is holy. You see, preparation always precedes revelation. God will never place a crown on a heart that hasn't been refined. You've been learning how to fight in silence, how to worship when weary, how to stand when everything inside you wanted to collapse. That is divine training. It is the shaping of a warrior who has learned to bow before God before standing before men. Do you realize how much power is being built inside you right now? The very things you thought would destroy you were instruments in the hands of heaven. You thought it was rejection, but it was redirection. You thought it was loss, but it was repositioning. The hand of God was quietly rearranging your life to align with His plan. The delay wasn't denial, it was divine timing wrapping itself around your destiny. Every burden you've carried was a building block. Every unanswered prayer was a setup for something better. There is nothing wasted in the life of one who is chosen. The betrayals refined your discernment. The waiting seasons deepened your wisdom. The storms taught you to anchor yourself in God, not in outcomes. You were being built from the inside out. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Romans, chapter 8, verse 28. All things work together for good to those who truly love God, the ones He calls according to purpose. That means nothing in your life has been random. Even the heartbreaks, even the detours, even the seasons where it seemed like God was silent, they all work together to form the foundation of who you are becoming. When you thought heaven was ignoring you, heaven was investing in you. When you thought God had left, He was closer than ever, whispering lessons into your spirit that only solitude could reveal. Beloved, you must understand your pain was not proof of God's absence. It was proof of His preparation. Diamonds are formed under pressure, and oil only flows when the olive is crushed. You were being pressed, not punished. The same hands that broke you were the ones molding you into something greater. The process hurt, but it also purified. It stripped away everything that was false so that only the authentic could remain. And now, you're starting to feel it, aren't you? That quiet confidence returning. That awareness that maybe, just maybe, there was meaning behind it all. The heaviness you carried has begun to lift because you're realizing it was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to strengthen your spirit for the next level. God could not reveal your next until He first revealed what needed to be healed. Look back. Chosen one. Remember every valley you walked through, every closed door that confused you. Now see them for what they were: guardrails, not barriers. God was guiding your steps, ensuring you wouldn't settle for less than what He promised. You are not behind schedule. You are right on time in heaven's calendar. You are entering a season where the purpose of your pain will be made clear. The strength that was forged in silence is about to speak loudly through your life. People will look at you and see resilience. They will wonder how you endured. But you'll know it wasn't you. It was grace. It wasn't luck. It was destiny. So breathe now. You've carried enough. The same God who allowed the breaking is the one who ensures the rebuilding. What's ahead of you requires lighter hands and a stronger heart. The old you had to die under the weight so that the new you could rise in freedom. Everything you've been through is about to make sense. The training is almost complete, and the unveiling is near. Hold your peace, for heaven is aligning everything you lost into a story of redemption so powerful it will silence every doubt. You are not a victim of your past, you are the vessel of God's next move. There were moments when it felt like everything stopped. Doors that once swung open suddenly sealed shut. Opportunities that seemed certain dissolved without explanation. You prayed, you fasted, you stayed faithful, and yet heaven pressed pause. The silence was confusing, even painful. You wondered if you had done something wrong, if maybe you'd missed a sign or lost your way. But chosen one, the pause was not punishment, it was divine protection. You must understand, God is not only the God of motion, He is also the God of timing. Sometimes He delays what you desire because He knows what's waiting behind the door. What you saw as a setback was actually a shield. You were ready in heart, but not yet positioned in place. Heaven had to rearrange the battlefield before sending you forward. Every not yet you've heard from God was a mercy in disguise. There are seasons where God hides progress to grow your patience. When heaven presses pause, it's not because He forgot your name, it's because He's perfecting your path. Think of Joseph in the prison, David in the fields, Esther in the palace before the crown. Every pause was preparation. If God had released you too soon, the blessing might have broken you. But now, you are maturing into the kind of vessel that can sustain what He's about to pour out. Chosen one, this delay is sacred. It's in these in-between spaces that your roots grow deep. You're learning to trust without evidence, to walk without sight, to rest in the one who knows the end from the beginning. The pause is where faith stops being theory and becomes reality. It's where belief turns into endurance, as was spoken in the sacred text of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Those words echo through the centuries to reach you right now. The vision over your life has not expired. The promises that felt delayed are only waiting for their appointed moment. God has not changed His mind about you. The process is slower than you wanted because the impact will be greater than you imagined. Remember, the pause is never about inactivity, it's about incubation. Heaven has been forming something inside you that can only mature in stillness. You've been feeling it, the subtle shifts in your spirit, the divine restlessness that says, something is about to move. That's because the pause is ending. The sound you're hearing in your spirit is the unlocking of divine timing. But before you rush forward, let this truth settle deep within you. Every pause has purpose. In the silence, God was building your sensitivity to His voice. In the waiting, He was filtering out distractions. He was teaching you to move by conviction, not convenience. By revelation, not reaction. You are being trained to recognize His hand even when it moves slowly. Beloved, when God pauses your life, He's protecting your future. He knows that the next season requires clarity, not chaos. Some relationships had to end because they couldn't handle your next. Some doors had to close because they led to lesser destinies. Some delays were needed so that the wrong people would disqualify themselves before you arrived. What felt like rejection was really preservation. Look back at those unanswered prayers and thank Him they were never unanswered, just redirected. If He had given you what you wanted then, you would have settled for less than what He planned. His wait was an act of love. And now, as heaven begins to stir again, you'll recognize the rhythm. You'll feel the divine acceleration, but you'll also notice something new inside you, peace. Because this time, you'll move from obedience, not anxiety. You'll go when He says go, not when the world tells you you're behind. You've learned to trust His timing, and that makes you unstoppable. So when the next door opens, walk through it with reverence. You're not the same person who waited in tears. You are wiser, stronger, and more aligned. The pause has ended, and your preparation has matured into power. Chosen one, before you move forward, leave your mark of faith right here. Type these words in the comments: I trust God's timing. Do it not as a ritual, but as a declaration. Let those 4 words become your prophetic banner. Every time impatience whispers, you'll remember this moment. You'll remember the calm that comes when trust replaces striving. And as you write them, heaven will see your surrender and release what's been held back. The pause is over. The clock of destiny is ticking again. You are stepping out of delay and into divine flow. The same God who pressed pause is now pressing play, and this time, nothing will stop what He has ordained, as there is something sacred about being hidden. You may not have recognized it while you were in the midst of it, but that season of silence, the one where no one seemed to see your worth, was the very place where God was refining your soul. The hidden season is not a punishment, it's a forge. It's where heaven works quietly, stripping away pride, polishing purpose, and purifying desire until what remains is unshakable. Chosen one, you were never buried, you were planted. That's why the darkness felt tight, why the silence pressed so heavily on your chest. It was the soil of divine formation. God covered you, not to suffocate you, but to protect the fragile beginning of your next becoming. Seeds must disappear before they can emerge. The same is true for you. You had to vanish for a while so that your roots could grow deep enough to sustain your rise. The world celebrates visibility, but heaven celebrates depth. While others chase platforms, God crafts foundations. And He has been building yours in secret, layer by layer, through every quiet disappointment and every unseen victory. You have been learning to hear the voice of God without the noise of applause. That's how heaven trains leaders, through silence, through obscurity, through the long hours of unseen faithfulness. You've wondered, why am I being overlooked? Why does it feel like I'm invisible? But chosen one, that was the mercy of God. He was hiding you until the time was right. Because when heaven reveals what it has been forming, it does so in fullness, not fragments. You won't have to introduce yourself. Your fruit will speak for you. There is a sacred pattern in the stories of all who are chosen. Moses was hidden in a basket before he was raised to deliver a nation. David was hidden among sheep before he was crowned in the palace. Even Jesus was hidden for 30 years before his public ministry began. God hides those He intends to use greatly, because exposure too early can destroy what's still growing. We are reminded through the writings of the prophet in the book of Zechariah, chapter 13, verse 9. I will bring that group through the fire and make them pure. I will refine them like silver and test them like gold. They will call on my name and I will answer them. I will say, they are my people, and they will say, the Lord is our God. This is what He has done with you. The fire was not to destroy, but to define. Every test you faced was designed to reveal what could not be shaken. You have been purified by process. Every unanswered prayer, every delay, every closed door, it all had one goal: refinement. The hidden season strips away all that is temporary. It teaches you to trust the eternal. When everything familiar fades, you learn who God really is. When no one is watching, your faith becomes real. You begin to realize that your worth is not in being seen, but in being sent. And when you are finally released into visibility, you will not seek validation, you will carry revelation. Do not despise the hidden years. They are the birthplace of wisdom. They are where intimacy with God becomes unbreakable. They are where you learn the rhythm of heaven, where you recognize His voice above the noise. While others chase visibility, you will walk in authority, because you've been tested by fire and found faithful. Beloved, your time of concealment is almost over. The refining is nearing completion. The version of you that will step out of this season will not look like the one who entered it. You will carry the fragrance of fire, but not the evidence of burn. You will shine with a calm strength that cannot be counterfeited. People will sense it before they understand it. Something holy rests upon you, and when the unveiling comes, you'll know it was worth it. The silence will make sense. The isolation will feel like investment. You'll realize that God didn't hide you to delay your destiny. He hid you to protect it. Because the purity of your purpose required privacy. There's a peace that comes when you stop fighting the hidden season and start embracing it. The same hand that concealed you is the one that will reveal you. Stay faithful where you are. Keep nurturing what no one else sees. The hidden season will soon turn into holy evidence. And when that moment comes, you'll rise not in arrogance, but in awe, knowing that it was the refining that made you ready. Chosen one, heaven has not forgotten you. It has been forming you, and the fire that once felt like loss has made you luminous. You are no longer who you were, you are becoming who you were meant to be. Something in the atmosphere is shifting. You can feel it not in your mind, but in your spirit. The heaviness that once pressed you down is beginning to lift. The air feels different around you, charged with quiet promise. Heaven is moving pieces you can't yet see. You are standing on the threshold between who you were and who you are becoming. The shift has begun. At first, it doesn't look like movement. The ground doesn't shake. The clouds don't part. But something in you starts to awaken. You find strength where you used to feel empty. Peace where there was once panic. It's subtle, like the slow rising of dawn after a long night. You don't realize it's morning until the first light touches your face. That's how transformation works. It starts in the unseen before it becomes visible. Chosen one. You've been walking through midnight, but dawn is breaking. God has not forgotten His promise. The same hand that led you into the valley is now guiding you toward the mountain. You are shifting from surviving to reigning, from being refined to being revealed. Heaven has whispered now. And when God says now, no force on earth can hold you back. The prophet declares in the book of Isaiah, chapter 43, verse 19, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland." That new thing is unfolding inside you. The wilderness that once felt endless is now turning into a pathway. The dry places of your life are about to overflow with unexpected provision. But to receive what's next, you must release what no longer fits. The old wineskin can't contain new oil. The old mindset can't carry new miracle. You might not have seen the signs, but heaven has been rearranging everything on your behalf. Conversations are happening about you in rooms you haven't entered yet. Opportunities are aligning like constellations waiting for their moment to shine. And soon, the same people who doubted your endurance will witness your elevation. But remember, chosen one, this shift isn't about pride. It's about purpose. The light God is igniting in you is meant to guide others out of their darkness. You are becoming a living testimony, a walking miracle. Your story will be a map for those who are lost, proof that God still resurrects what the world calls finished. Still, even as the shift begins, your heart might tremble. Change feels unfamiliar, even when it's divine. It's like standing on the shore of a vast ocean, watching waves of destiny roll toward you. You don't yet know how to swim in these new waters, but you can trust the tide that carries you. God is both the current and the anchor. Beloved, the shift may require surrender. You might have to let go of people, habits, or places that no longer align with where you're going. But don't fear the letting go. Every release is an act of trust, and every act of trust becomes a seed of breakthrough. What you release from your hands, heaven multiplies. Think of your life as a field. You've planted in tears, watered in prayer, and waited through drought. Now, the first shoots of harvest are breaking through. It's time to tend the soil with gratitude and generosity. As this ministry pours into you, let your heart stay open like soil that gives back what it receives. If these words stir something inside you, if you feel the wind of heaven brushing across your spirit, pause and give thanks. Then, as you are led, help this message continue to reach others. A simple act, liking, sharing, subscribing, spreads the light farther than you can imagine. Each time you do, it's like striking another match in a dark world, allowing someone else to see what you now see. And if you feel moved to sow into this work, let it be from the heart, not obligation. Think of it as adding another brick to a lighthouse. Each gift strengthens the tower that helps others find their way home. Every contribution, whether a prayer, a comment, or a donation, is a declaration that you believe in the power of divine transformation. The shift is not just happening to you, it's happening through you. Your response to this moment sends ripples into eternity. Heaven doesn't measure your giving by size, but by sincerity. Even a small act, offered in faith, can move mountains. Chosen one, the wind of change is blowing. The same spirit that hovered over chaos in Genesis is hovering over your life now. Don't resist the movement, rise with it. Let go of fear, lift your hands, and step into the new with courage. The wilderness is behind you, the stream is ahead. The shift has begun, and your story is being rewritten by the hand of God. Chosen one, something sacred is happening within you. You can feel it, a stirring deep in your soul, as if heaven itself is calling you by name. The voice of God is whispering beneath your heartbeat, peeling away every false label that life, people, or pain ever placed upon you. You have been misnamed, misunderstood, and misjudged. But that ends now. Heaven is giving you your true name. You see, identity is the foundation of destiny. The enemy attacked who you are because he fears what you'll become. That's why he tried to make you question your worth, your purpose, even your belonging. He whispered lies through rejection, through disappointment, through the opinions of others who could never see what God saw in you. But hear this, those lies are breaking off tonight. You are not who they said you were. You are who God says you are. There is a divine unveiling taking place. The masks are falling away, the one you wore to survive, the one you used to hide the pain, the one that kept you blending in when you were born to stand out. Heaven is saying, enough pretending. The true you, the chosen version, is awakening. as the Spirit spoke through the words recorded in the book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 17. To the one who is victorious, I will give a white stone with a new name written on it, known only to the one who receives it. That is your promise. You are being renamed by heaven. You are not forgotten. You are being redefined. The old version of you, the one weighed down by fear, guilt, and comparison, is fading. In its place, a new name is rising, one marked by strength, by clarity, by divine confidence. Chosen one, this new identity doesn't come from success or recognition. It flows from surrender. The moment you laid down the need to please everyone else, heaven began to reveal who you truly are. You were never meant to chase labels or fit into categories. You were meant to carry the fragrance of heaven wherever you go. Think about the caterpillar, hidden, slow, unnoticed. It doesn't know that one day it will fly. The cocoon feels like confinement, but it's actually transformation. You, too, have been in your cocoon, wrapped in silence while heaven rewrote your spiritual DNA. The discomfort you felt wasn't punishment, it was rebirth. You're not losing yourself, you're meeting your real self for the first time. When God calls you by your new name, it won't sound like the voices of this world. It won't echo shame or fear. It will sound like peace. It will sound like home. And when you hear it, you'll recognize it instantly because it's been hidden inside you all along. This is why certain people had to leave. They were attached to an older version of you. They could not recognize what God was forming in the dark. Let them go with love. The ones meant for your next season will not just see your new identity, they will honor it. Beloved, your new name carries assignment. It is not just who you are, it is what you are called to do. You are being awakened as a carrier of light, a restorer of others, a reflection of divine power. That's why your warfare has been intense, because your name holds authority. And now, heaven is asking for your agreement. Will you step fully into this new identity? Will you let go of every label that has kept you small? Will you allow God to rename your story? This is your moment of agreement with destiny. If your spirit says yes, then seal it prophetically. Type in the comments below the number 1111. Do this not as superstition, but as declaration. That number represents alignment, heaven and earth in agreement. Your will in harmony with God's. It's a way of saying, I receive my true name. I am ready to walk in it. When you write it, let your fingers become your faith in motion. Heaven sees the act as obedience, not as mere action. Because chosen one. This is the moment you stop apologizing for who you are. The name heaven gives you is a name of purpose, not perfection. You don't have to earn it, you simply have to embrace it. Let the world see the you that God has always seen: radiant, redeemed, unstoppable. The unveiling has begun, and the name written on your spirit is about to echo through everything you touch. Chosen one. Before every great becoming, there must first come a breaking. It's not the kind of breaking that destroys, it's the kind that frees. You have been through it, the unexpected endings, the quiet heartbreaks, the moments where you stood in the ashes of something you thought would last forever. You've lost friends, opportunities, and even parts of yourself you thought you could never live without. But hear this. In your spirit, the breaking was not the end of you. It was the beginning. In the kingdom of heaven, breaking always comes before blessing. The seed must split before it can sprout. The alabaster jar must shatter before the fragrance can fill the room. The bread must be broken before it can feed the multitude. You are too. Were broken not because you were weak, but because what was inside you was too precious to stay contained. The breaking released your anointing. At first, it felt cruel. You didn't understand why God allowed the pain. You prayed for protection. but he allowed separation. You asked for peace, but he permitted pressure. Yet now, as you look back, you can see that every crack in your heart became a doorway for his glory. You had to lose what was temporary to gain what was eternal. There is beauty in the breaking that only those who have survived it can see. It's the beauty of surrender, the radiance of resilience, the quiet strength that comes from realizing you've been held all along. The world may see brokenness as weakness, but heaven sees it as readiness. Brokenness invites God to build again, but this time, on solid ground. We are reminded through the writings of David in the book of Psalms, chapter 34, verse 18. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. That's where he found you, in the place of your pain. And rather than leaving you there, he began to rebuild. Every piece that fell apart in your life became part of a divine mosaic arranged by the Master's hand. Nothing was wasted, not the tears, not the confusion, not even the silence. The same cracks that once made you feel fragile are now the pathways where light escapes. Chosen one, you are stronger than you know. The very thing that tried to break you has become the testimony that will carry others through. You are not fragile glass, you are refined gold. And gold only shines after it's been through the fire. Breaking strips away illusion. It teaches you what truly matters. It shows you the kind of strength that only comes when everything else is gone and God is all that remains. You've discovered that survival was never the goal. Transformation was. The breaking was not about what you lost, but about what was being born inside of you. If you listen closely now, you can hear the rhythm of restoration pulsing in your soul. It's quiet but steady, like the heartbeat of something holy. You no longer look for validation in the same places. You no longer crave approval from the same people. Pain has purified your vision. You now recognize truth by its peace. Beloved, never curse the breaking that brought you closer to God. The pain that once made you question everything is now the proof that His grace is real. You are walking evidence that survival is not just possible, it's purposeful. The breaking broke the chains, not your spirit. And soon, the very places where you bled will bloom. The soil of sorrow will produce joy, and the tears you once cried in private will water the seeds of your future harvest. What was taken will be returned, but not in the same form. It will come back refined, multiplied, sanctified. So lift your eyes, chosen one. The night of breaking is ending. Morning is stretching across your horizon. The pieces you thought were lost forever are being gathered by hands that never drop what they hold. The breaking is behind you, but its lessons remain within you, unshakable, eternal, sacred. You are not broken beyond repair. You are broken open for renewal. There are moments in your journey, chosen one, when heaven celebrates long before the earth catches up. What looks like stillness to others is movement in the unseen. The promotion you've been praying for, the breakthrough you've been waiting to see, it has already been announced in the spiritual realm. You may not hear the trumpet, but heaven has declared your name. You've been faithful in quiet places. You've served when no one thanked you, given when no one noticed, obeyed when no one else would. And though it seemed small, those choices built something mighty. Heaven keeps records of obedience, not applause. While others were striving to be seen, you were learning to listen. And that posture has positioned you for something extraordinary. There's a principle the world doesn't understand. Before God promotes publicly, He affirms privately. The unseen comes before the seen. Every moment you spent in silence, every tear you sowed in faith, was a seed heaven saw. The soil of obscurity was the training ground for your elevation. When the prophet Samuel went to anoint a king from Jesse's sons, David wasn't even invited to the ceremony. He was out in the fields, doing what he always did, serving faithfully, singing quietly, fighting lions when no one was watching. Yet it was there, in the forgotten fields, that heaven whispered, "That's the one." The scripture reveals it in the first book of Samuel, chapter 16, verse 7. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance. But the Lord looks at the heart. That verse, chosen one, has been the rhythm of your refining. God saw your heart when others overlooked your hands. He saw your motives when others questioned your moves. He saw your humility when others misunderstood your silence. And because of that heart, He has already issued a promotion no one can reverse. The unseen promotion doesn't come with clapping crowds or flashing lights. It begins as a quiet assurance, a knowing deep in your spirit that something has shifted. You feel lighter, yet stronger. You move with more peace and less pressure. You no longer chase validation. It starts to find you. That's the mark of divine favor. You may not see the evidence yet, but it's building. God is aligning circumstances, touching hearts, moving people into and out of your path. What once was a delay is now divine coordination. When the time comes, the right opportunity will recognize you, the right people will be drawn to you, the right doors will open effortlessly. You won't have to force anything that heaven has already prepared. This season is about quiet confirmation. You don't have to prove who you are, God is about to show them. The anointing on your life speaks louder than explanations. Those who doubted you will see fruit they can't deny. And when the spotlight finally finds you, it won't expose arrogance, it will reveal authenticity. Beloved, understand this: God promotes in proportion to your preparation. The unseen battles you fought have trained you for visible victory. The long nights of prayer, the moments you chose forgiveness over revenge, the times you honored even when dishonored, those were your tests. And you passed them. Heaven has marked you ready. Don't be discouraged if your surroundings haven't caught up yet. Elevation in the spirit always precedes elevation in the natural. Like a tree growing roots before branches, what's unseen is the foundation for what's coming. Soon, the fruit will appear. And when it does, remember the field, remember the silence, the lessons, the faith it took to stand when no one else saw. Your unseen promotion wasn't earned by striving, it was granted through surrender. The more you trusted God in the shadows, the higher He prepared to lift you in the light. You are stepping into a realm where recognition will follow obedience. But even in the elevation, stay humble. Promotion is not the end of the journey, it's the beginning of greater responsibility. You're being lifted not for status, but for service. Your voice, your presence, your story will become a vessel through which others find hope. So, chosen one, walk forward quietly. You don't need to announce what heaven has already declared. Your life will testify for you. Every step you take will echo the truth: you were seen, you were chosen, and you were elevated long before anyone realized it. Your unseen promotion has already been signed, sealed, and sent. The unveiling is near. Chosen one, there are crowns that no human hand can give you. They are not made of gold or silver, nor are they placed upon your head by people's approval. These crowns are heavenly symbols of victory, given to those who have endured, remained faithful, and kept their hearts pure in seasons of pressure. You, beloved, are one of those being crowned. You didn't earn this crown by comfort, you earned it by endurance. Every time you refused to give up, heaven took note. Every time you chose love instead of bitterness, every time you forgave when it hurt, Every time you kept believing though the evidence said otherwise, those moments were your coronation rehearsals. This crown isn't just a reward, it's a mark of authority. It represents a new level of spiritual maturity and divine trust. God has been shaping your character so that when He places this crown on you, you'll wear it with humility, not pride. You will understand that the glory belongs to Him, not to you. The scripture declares in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 12, "Blessed is the one who stands under trial, for having endured well receives the crown promised by the Lord to all who love Him." You've stood the test when you've walked through fire without losing your faith. You've faced opposition, doubt, and even silence from those you thought would support you. But through it all, you've kept your eyes fixed on God. And now, heaven is responding with recognition. Chosen one. The crown that's coming is not just symbolic, it's spiritual evidence of transformation. You are being honored not for perfection, but for perseverance. The enemy tried to wear you down, but your resilience became your warfare. Every no you faced became a stepping stone toward your divine yes. There is a reason certain doors didn't open, and certain people didn't see your worth. Your crown wasn't meant to be handed by them, it was meant to descend from heaven. When God crowns you, no human can dethrone you. When He marks you, no voice can cancel what He's spoken. But understand this: crowns come with calling. To wear one is to carry responsibility. The authority you are stepping into requires wisdom, compassion, and grace. The people you'll soon reach are drawn not to your strength, but to your scars. They will see in your eyes the reflection of someone who has walked through darkness and still chosen light. You are stepping into a season of divine recognition, but it will look different from what you expected. Your crown may come in the form of peace where there used to be chaos. It may come as favor in rooms that once ignored you. It may come as influence, opportunity, or restoration. However it manifests, you'll know it's from God because it will carry weight and wonder, not pressure and pride. Beloved, don't shrink back now. This is not the time to question your worth. This is the time to lift your head, not in arrogance, but in awareness that you've been chosen. The crown doesn't make you better than others, it confirms that you belong to the King. You may still feel the residue of past pain, but that's just the reminder of what you overcame. The crown is forged from every hardship you've survived. The thorns that once pierced your soul have become the gold that now rests upon your spirit. That is how heaven transforms suffering into splendor. Chosen one, you've walked through shadows long enough. Now, heaven calls you to rise. You are not the same as before. You are wiser, quieter, more powerful than words can describe. The old doubts can't cling to you anymore. The old fears can't hold you hostage. You have outgrown them. This is your divine coronation season. You won't need to announce it. Your peace will speak it. Your glow will reveal it. Those who once questioned you will begin to see something different in your presence: a calm authority, a radiant confidence, a holy composure. That is the reflection of your crown. And when the world tries to make you doubt again, when you start to forget what heaven has spoken, remind yourself of this truth: crowns are not given to the comfortable, they're given to the courageous. Now, seal this in your spirit. Type these words in the comments: I wear victory. Write it not as a slogan, but as a declaration. Let it echo through your fingertips and into your heart. You are not waiting to be victorious, you already are. The crown has been placed. The recognition is done. All that's left is to walk like royalty, gracefully, humbly, powerfully. Your season of silent struggle has become your season of shining strength. And heaven, chosen one, is watching you wear your victory well. Chosen one. Sometimes the path to glory winds through wilderness. What you thought was punishment was actually pilgrimage. You weren't being pushed away, you were being pulled aside, hidden in holy solitude so heaven could speak to you without interruption. The wilderness was not God's absence, it was His classroom. It's in those barren places that clarity is born. When there's nothing left to lean on, your spirit learns to listen. You stop hearing through fear and begin to discern through faith. The silence that once frightened you becomes the very sound of instruction. It was there, in your wilderness, that you learned how to survive without applause, how to keep walking when no one was cheering. That is the kind of strength that cannot be faked. Heaven speaks clearly through the words written in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 8, verse 2. Remember the Lord's leading through 40 wilderness years. He humbled and tested you to reveal your heart and show what was within. You see, the wilderness strips away illusion. It humbles pride, quiets the noise, and reveals the motives hidden in the heart. You learned that faith isn't a feeling, it's a decision. When all you had left was belief, heaven was enough. And now, the same ground that once felt like exile is becoming the soil of your greatest testimony. Because the wilderness isn't wasted, it's woven into your witness. The lessons you learned in isolation will soon be the light that guides others out of their own darkness. You were chosen not only to endure, but to teach what endurance looks like. Your scars are sacred maps. Chosen one. Each one tells a story of survival, of grace, of divine faithfulness. There are people waiting to hear what you've lived through, because your story carries the sound of deliverance. Don't hide it, share it. Speak it as a song of freedom, not of shame. Your voice may be the key that unlocks someone else's prison. And as you continue walking this road, remember you are not walking alone. Every time you return here to listen, to breathe, to be reminded of your calling, you are stepping into a community of light, like a vast constellation. Each listener shines in their own part of the sky. But together, you form a galaxy of grace. If these messages have strengthened you, let your response ripple outward. A simple act, a like, a share, a subscription becomes a way of extending this message into another soul's wilderness. It's like tossing a lantern across the river so someone on the other side can find their way home. And for those who feel led to sow into this work, do it as an act of gratitude, not obligation. Giving is not about amount, it's about alignment. It's like pouring water on a seed that's already begun to sprout. You're helping it grow beyond yourself. Your generosity keeps this fire burning, keeps these words reaching the brokenhearted at just the right time. Think of it this way. Every heart touched, every tear dried, every spirit revived through these words is a ripple that began with you. You're not just listening, you're participating in the divine movement. When you give, when you engage, when you share, you're adding oil to a lamp that refuses to go out. You have walked through the wilderness. Now, you are becoming a well for others. What once drained you now flows through you. Your pain has become prophecy. Your silence has become strength. You carry living water, and as you pour it out, heaven will refill you again and again. The wilderness tried to silence you, but you emerged as a voice. The isolation tried to crush you, but it made you wise. You are no longer wandering, you are witnessing. The same desert that once tested you now testifies about you. And those who once pitied you will soon come to you for counsel, because they'll see the evidence of endurance shining in your eyes. So, chosen one, as you read these words, let gratitude rise. You've survived the scorching heat of trials, the cold nights of loneliness, and the hunger for understanding. And through it all, your faith didn't die, it deepened. That is why you are still here. That is why heaven continues to speak through this space. If this message nourishes you, let it also nourish others. Engage with it, spread it, invest in it, not for me, but for the many still wandering in their own deserts, waiting for a voice that says you can make it too. Because that's what this is, a river flowing through wilderness, carrying life wherever it goes. And you, chosen one, are part of the current. Chosen one, every ascent begins with separation. You cannot rise without release. As the eagle prepares to soar, it first leaves the nest high, safe and familiar. And so must you. Not everyone can journey with you into the heights God has called you to. Some will misunderstand the distance, thinking you've grown cold or proud. But heaven knows you are not withdrawing in arrogance, but in obedience. There comes a point in every chosen life when God begins to prune. Relationships that once felt essential start to fade. Conversations that once excited you suddenly feel hollow. Even dreams you once clung to begin to shift. It can feel like loss, but it's really alignment. Divine separation is never rejection, it is elevation. In the early days, you might have thought everyone who started with you would finish with you. But the truth is, not every companion is called to every chapter. Some were meant to help you begin, not to see you become. When heaven changes your season, it also changes your circle. It can hurt at first, this quiet parting. You may question what you did wrong, why people grew distant, why connection feels harder to find. Yet, in the silence, you'll hear something holy, a still, small voice reminding you that separation is not subtraction, but strategy. God is making room. It can hurt at first, this quiet parting. You may question what you did wrong, why people grew distant, why connection feels harder to find. Yet in the silence, you'll hear something holy, a still small voice reminding you that separation is not subtraction, but strategy. God is making room. Sometimes the space He clears feels like loss until you see what He intends to fill it with. What leaves your life creates the capacity for new wisdom, deeper faith, and truer companions, people whose spirits echo your own divine rhythm and vision. Heaven never removes without reason. Without every absence becomes an altar where something greater will soon descend. Trust that what's leaving is being replaced by peace, by clarity, by destiny. The pruning of today prepares the blooming of tomorrow's calling. The words of Christ confirm this mystery in the Gospel of John, chapter 15, verse 19. If you belong to the world, it would love you as its own. As it is, you do not belong to the world, but I have chosen you out of the world. There it is, chosen out. The calling on your life requires consecration. You cannot carry the fragrance of heaven while clinging to the patterns of the crowd. That's why certain doors shut, certain friendships faded, certain familiar comforts no longer satisfied you. Heaven was detoxing your spirit. Chosen one, you've been feeling that pull, the holy tension between who you were and who you're becoming. You can't return to the old rhythm, it doesn't fit your spirit anymore. You've outgrown conversations that revolve around fear, gossip, or limitation. Your hunger for truth, for peace, for purpose, has made you foreign to those still feeding on comfort. That's not your fault, it's your growth. When God begins to elevate, He also isolates, not to make you lonely, but to make you listen. The mountaintop is never crowded. The higher you go, the quieter it gets. But that silence isn't emptiness, it's clarity. The higher you climb, the thinner the air becomes. Only those built for altitude can breathe there. That's why not everyone can follow. Do not grieve what God has removed. Every loss was a pruning, not a punishment. The gardener cuts not to harm the branch, but to make room for more fruit. Some people left because their season in your story had ended. Some opportunities closed because they could not contain your future. And while it hurts to let go, you'll soon see the wisdom in it. Without the weight of old attachments, you can finally rise. You'll look back and realize that if you had carried everyone, you would have lost yourself. There is holiness in solitude. In the stillness, you discover the voice of God unhindered. You begin to see that being set apart is not about superiority, it's about stewardship. You were chosen to walk a narrower path so that others could one day find theirs through your example. And when the loneliness feels heavy, remember every prophet, every pioneer, every torchbearer walked this road. Abraham left his land, Moses left the palace, Ruth left her past, even Jesus withdrew to pray. Isolation is the birthplace of revelation. Beloved, take heart. You are not being abandoned, you are being advanced. The distance between you and others is the space where God is molding your destiny. He is teaching you to depend on His presence more than people's presence. And when the time is right, He will send those who can walk beside you, not behind you, people who match your pace and honor your purpose. Until then, walk boldly in your divine solitude. The separation has a purpose. It's carving out the space you need to soar. Chosen one, there is a shift happening in the spiritual atmosphere. You may not see it with your eyes, but your spirit knows. There is a new weight on your words, a new authority in your presence. Heaven has been watching your faithfulness, and now the time has come for a transfer, a divine mantle, entrusted only to those who have proven they can carry both glory and humility. This is not a small change. It's the moment where heaven reassigns roles, where the torch passes from one generation to another. You have been trained in secret for this very hour. What once felt like waiting was actually preparation for responsibility. You were not forgotten, you were being formed. The mantle is not given to the loudest, nor to the most visible. It rests upon the ones who have remained steadfast when no one was watching. The mantle does not fall upon perfection. It falls upon surrender. It is not earned through effort, but through endurance. You have carried the weight of testing so you could carry the weight of anointing. The ancient story of Elijah and Elisha mirrors what heaven is doing now. When the prophet Elijah was taken up, his mantle, the visible symbol of divine authority, fell to Elisha, who had followed him faithfully through deserts, doubts, and distances. Elisha's persistence was the proof of his readiness. And when he picked up that mantle, the same spirit that rested on Elijah doubled its portion within him. Scripture reveals this truth in the second book of Kings, chapter 2, verses 9 through 10. Elisha said, "Let me inherit a double portion of your spirit." Elijah replied, "You have asked a difficult thing. Yet if you see me when I am taken from you, it will be yours." Chosen one, heaven is saying the same to you. If you can see me, it will be yours. You've been walking by faith, not by sight, trusting even when everything around you seemed uncertain. But because you have remained faithful, God is now entrusting you with what others let go of. The mantle of boldness, of discernment, of wisdom, of prophetic insight, it's being released upon your life. When this mantle falls, it won't come with spectacle, it will come with stillness. Suddenly, you'll find your voice carrying more power than before. Your prayers will pierce through barriers that once resisted. You'll begin to walk into rooms and shift atmospheres without speaking a word. That's what happens when heaven recognizes you as a carrier of its authority. But remember, the mantle is not for your glory, it's for God's purpose. It comes with weight because it carries responsibility. To wear it well, you must walk softly before the Lord. Pride repels what humility attracts. The mantle remains only upon those who remember that power without purity is dangerous. You may feel the pressure of this calling, the trembling awareness that heaven has marked you. Don't fear it. The same God who gives the mantle gives the grace to bear it. You don't have to strive to keep it. You only have to stay surrendered. The oil flows where obedience remains. This mantle is generational. It carries the prayers of those who came before you, the intercessors, the visionaries, the nameless servants who carried light through dark ages. Now, that same flame is being placed in your hands. You are part of a divine continuum, a holy lineage. You will take what they began and carry it farther, higher, deeper. There will be moments when you'll feel unworthy. That's when you must remember you were not chosen because you were ready. You were chosen because you were willing. God doesn't look for perfection. He looks for surrender. And your willingness has drawn heaven's favor like a magnet. Chosen one. If your heart burns as you read this, it's because the mantle is already descending. You can feel it like a warmth on your shoulders, like a calm certainty rising inside you. Heaven is marking you for leadership, not by title but by testimony. Seal this moment with faith. Declare your agreement with heaven's transfer. Type the number 5555 in the comments below. That number symbolizes divine commissioning, a spiritual activation of grace and movement. As you write it, let it represent your readiness to carry what heaven is entrusting to you. It is not just a comment, it is a covenant. Heaven reads faith written even through fingertips. You are not who you were yesterday. You have been entrusted with something eternal. Walk forward with reverence, for the mantle has found its rightful bearer. Chosen one. There comes a moment in every divine journey when the winds shift and the skies darken. Not because you've strayed, but because heaven is teaching you how to hear differently. The storm doesn't always arrive to destroy, it sometimes arrives to reveal. You've been asking for clarity, for confirmation, for a sign. But in this season, God is teaching you that His voice is not always in the thunder, it's in the whisper that follows. You've walked through enough storms by now to know that not all chaos is punishment. Some storms are invitations. They strip away distraction, silence every other voice, and leave you face to face with the one who has been speaking all along. You have learned that divine revelation rarely comes in comfort. It comes when the winds roar, when the earth trembles, when the familiar fades. Because when everything else shakes, truth stands still. The prophet Elijah knew this. He ran to the mountain, desperate to hear God. The wind howled, the earthquake rumbled, the fire blazed, but God was in none of those. Then a gentle whisper came, and Elijah knew. That whisper changed everything, because it reminded him that divine power doesn't need volume, it needs intimacy. The scripture tells it plainly in the first book of Kings, chapter 19, verse 12. After the earthquake came a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire, and after the fire came a gentle whisper. You've felt that whisper too, haven't you? In moments where you thought you were breaking apart, a calm voice within you said, "Peace, I'm here." It wasn't loud, but it was steady. That whisper has been guiding you when logic couldn't, holding you together when strength failed, reminding you that storms don't silence God, they amplify Him in a new way. Chosen one. This is how you learn spiritual maturity, by recognizing the voice of God amid the noise. The storm comes not to test your hearing, but to refine it. He's teaching you to recognize the difference between panic and prompting, between emotion and revelation. The more you listen, the more you'll notice His voice doesn't compete for attention. It invites you into stillness. In every season of transformation, God changes His method of communication. At first, he speaks through signs and people and open doors. But as you grow, he begins to speak within through peace, through conviction, through quiet knowing. It is a progression of intimacy. The more he trusts you, the more subtle his voice becomes because he knows you'll still recognize it. Sometimes, though, the silence can be terrifying. You ask, "Lord, are you still there?" And heaven answers not with words but with presence. He lets you feel the weight of stillness so you can discover that faith isn't about constant confirmation, it's about constant connection. The whisper is his way of saying, "You know me well enough now to trust my silence." The storm is not your enemy, it's your education. It's the divine classroom where your hearing matures. You learn to discern between your fears and his guidance. You begin to sense his movement not in the chaos, but in the calm that follows it. The voice that once came through fire now comes through peace. Chosen one, when you face the next storm, don't run from it. Stand still. Close your eyes. Listen beyond the thunder. You'll find that the same power that commands the winds also speaks softly to your heart. God doesn't shout to prove he's near. He whispers to prove you're close. The ability to hear his voice in the storm is the mark of those truly chosen. It means your faith has matured beyond signs and emotions. It means you no longer need everything around you to make sense because you've learned to recognize his presence even in confusion. That's the strength of the remnant, the unshakable ones who hear heaven even when the world is screaming. Do not despise the shaking. The storm comes to test what you've built. And when the winds die down, what remains will be pure, enduring, and unmovable. You will rise from the wreckage not fearful, but fearless because you will have discovered that you and God speak the same quiet language now. Beloved, this is where the intimacy deepens. The whisper will become your compass. It will lead you into new assignments, new connections, new revelations. You won't need external validation anymore because the voice within will confirm who you are and where you're going. The world may still see storms as destruction, but you will see them as dialogue. For the rest of your life, every gust of wind will remind you of the one who whispered your name in the chaos and called it peace. Chosen one. There are seasons when time seems to quicken, when what took years suddenly happens in days, and what once crawled forward begins to run. You are entering such a moment now. Heaven is accelerating what has long been delayed. The waiting is ending, and divine speed is overtaking you. Acceleration doesn't mean chaos, it means alignment. For years, God has been positioning pieces, shaping character, building endurance. You thought nothing was happening, but heaven was orchestrating every detail behind the scenes. Now that your heart is ready and your faith is matured, the pace is changing, and what used to resist you will begin to respond to you. What once seemed locked will suddenly open as if it had been waiting for your arrival. Divine acceleration is never random, it follows refinement. God does not rush immature hearts, because speed without stability can destroy what was meant to bless. That's why he took his time with you. The delays were never denial, they were safety nets. Heaven refused to let you move before you could handle what you were praying for. You're about to see why every pause was worth it, like an archer pulling back the bow. God has been stretching you not to harm you, but to launch you. The further he pulled you into waiting, the farther he's about to propel you into destiny. The tension you felt was energy gathering. The release you're about to experience will be unlike anything you've known. It was spoken through the prophet in the book of Amos, chapter 9, verse 13. The days are coming, declares the Lord, when the reaper will be overtaken by the plowman and the planter by the one treading grapes. New wine will drip from the mountains and flow from all the hills. That is your word for this season: overflow and acceleration. You are stepping into a divine rhythm where sowing and reaping happen almost simultaneously. What you plant today will begin to bear fruit before you can even water it. God is collapsing timelines, redeeming lost years, and turning what seemed wasted into wonder. But acceleration requires awareness. When God moves quickly, you must move wisely. This is not the time to cling to hesitation or doubt. The doors that open in this season will not remain open forever. They are windows of divine opportunity, brief, bright, and purposeful. You must walk through them with discernment and courage. Chosen one. You will begin to notice divine coincidences, chance encounters that feel too perfect to be random. Messages that confirm what your spirit already knows. Sudden clarity about next steps. That's how acceleration feels, its heaven's fingerprints all over your ordinary days. You'll realize that what used to take months of struggle now happens with ease. Not because it's easier, but because grace has gone before you. Still, acceleration is not without cost. You will have to travel lighter. There are weights you carried in the last season that cannot come with you now, old fears, stale guilt, even certain relationships. When God speeds you up, He also simplifies your load. This isn't rejection, it's refinement in motion. You might feel dizzy at first. Blessings will arrive before you have time to prepare for them. People will appear who seem to understand your vision instantly. Opportunities will feel tailor-made. Don't question it, this is what it feels like when heaven moves at full speed. Just remember to stay anchored. Let your prayer life be your compass, your worship your balance. When everything moves fast, stillness becomes your strength. This season will also reveal divine reversals. Those who dismissed you will witness your elevation. Situations that seemed final will reopen with favor. Places that once rejected you will request you. But when that happens, do not gloat. Divine acceleration is not about vindication, it's about validation of God's faithfulness. He is showing the world that He keeps His promises, not that you were right. There will be days when you'll wake up and realize you are living in what you used to pray for. Don't let that familiarity breed forgetfulness. Remember who carried you through the slow years. Remember who held you when nothing moved. Gratitude will keep your speed from turning into pride. Beloved, time itself is bending around your obedience. What once felt like delay will now work double time in your favor. Heaven is moving mountains, connecting paths, redeeming seasons. And when you look back, you'll see that every detour was a shortcut in disguise. This acceleration is not just for you, it's for what flows through you. You are a vessel, not a reservoir. The faster heaven pours, the quicker you must release. Blessings will come rapidly so that they can flow through your life and into others. You are not being blessed to boast, but to build. Chosen one, breathe. You've entered the current of divine motion. The winds that once opposed you are now propelling you forward. What used to be impossible will soon feel inevitable. This is not coincidence, it's prophecy fulfilled. Step lightly, move wisely, and keep your eyes fixed on the one who controls the pace. You are walking in acceleration, and grace has already gone ahead of you. Chosen one, can you feel it? The air itself carries a holy charge. Something vast and unseen is stirring the rise of the torchbearers. These are the ones who have walked through darkness, who have wrestled with despair, and yet still carry a flame that refuses to die. That flame is within you. It has survived the wind, the rain, and the silence, and now it is time for it to burn brighter than ever before. The world has grown dim in many places. Hope flickers like a dying candle. But this is exactly why heaven is lighting new fires. You, and others like you are the chosen carriers of that light. You are being sent into spaces that have forgotten warmth, into lives that have forgotten wonder. You are not a spectator, you are a spark in the great divine wildfire of renewal. Jesus said in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14, "You are the light of world, a city on hill cannot be hidden, shining for all." That truth isn't poetic, it's prophetic. You are not meant to stay hidden anymore. Your light was never designed to comfort only you. It was meant to guide others home. And now, as the remnant rises, heaven is gathering the flames together, scattered souls igniting in unison, forming a constellation of courage across the earth. Imagine it like this: each heart that believes, each voice that speaks hope, each hand that lifts another. These are candles joining into one brilliant blaze. You are part of that tapestry of fire. Every kind act, every shared word of faith, every moment of encouragement you release online or in person adds another spark to the movement. If this message speaks to something deep inside you, let your light ripple outward. Sometimes, shining isn't about grand gestures, it's about simple faithfulness. When you like or share a word that lifts a soul, it's like passing your torch to another traveler. When you subscribe or stay connected, you're tending to the flame, ensuring it doesn't die out in the winds of distraction. And if you feel led to give, to sow into this message that reaches souls across oceans and timelines, know that your offering becomes oil for the lamp. It keeps the light burning longer, stretching farther. Each donation, no matter how small, is another drop of oil poured into the flame that refuses to go out. You are not funding a voice. You are fueling a mission. Together, we are lighting up the night. Think of this ministry like a lighthouse standing on a stormy shore. Every beam of light sent out is a word that finds someone lost at sea, someone ready to give up, someone praying for a sign. By supporting that light through prayer, through giving, through engagement, you become a keeper of the flame. You make sure the light keeps shining for the next weary soul searching for hope. Chosen one, your light has purpose. Your light it may not roar like thunder, but it radiates peace that can melt walls of fear. Even your smallest act of faith is powerful in heaven's sight. Never underestimate the quiet radiance of your presence, the way your calm can settle storms around others, the way your laughter can wake joy in those who forgot how to smile. That is ministry. That is light. The rise of the torchbearers isn't about fame, it's about faithfulness. Heaven doesn't need celebrities, it needs servants who glow with conviction. Your voice, your story, your obedience, they are torches, tsaman, and together they form a chain of fire stretching across generations. But remember, light cannot coexist with fear of the dark. You must step boldly, carrying what you've been given into places others avoid. The shadows won't harm you, they flee from you. You are not walking into darkness. Darkness is retreating from your arrival. That is the authority of light. So keep your flame alive, feed it with prayer, protect it with gratitude, and spread it through generosity. If this word reminds you of who you are, comment below, share what it has stirred within you. Your reflection might be the spark that reignites someone else's fire tonight. And as you engage, whether by sharing, subscribing, or sowing into this space, do it with reverence, not routine. Let your heart say, I am part of this light, because you are. You're not watching a movement, you are the movement. Heaven's torches are rising across the world, and your flame, chosen one, is one of them. Hold it high, not for attention, but for illumination. Somewhere out there, a weary soul will see your glow and find the courage to keep walking. That is your purpose. That is your crown. That is your calling. Chosen one, Every hidden thing eventually meets the light. For years, you've walked through shadow and silence, carrying promises that seem too heavy to hold. But now, the veil is lifting, the time of concealment is closing, and the revelation of your glory is near. You are about to see why God hid you, why He slowed you down, why He let others go ahead. What He was shaping inside you required time, and now that the work is complete, heaven is ready to unveil what has been growing in secret. The revelation of glory is not about fame or status, it is about reflection. God's glory is not something you perform, it's something you carry. It radiates from a life that has endured the refining, survived the pruning, and chosen love over bitterness. The glory that's about to surround you is not a spotlight, it's a glow. It's the quiet, undeniable evidence that God's hand has never left you. You see, there's a rhythm to divine revelation. Before every unveiling comes transformation. The darkness you endured was not a delay. It was a womb. It was where potential took form, where faith grew muscle, where endurance became strength. Heaven hid you to mature you. You weren't being overlooked, you were being outgrown. Think of a pearl forming in the deep, hidden within a rough shell. Layer after layer of pressure builds until beauty appears. No one sees the process, they only see the result. That's what has been happening inside you. The pressure you felt was producing something rare, something radiant, something eternal. You were never forgotten in the depths you were being crafted for glory. As the prophet declared in the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 1, "Arise and shine, now your light has come. The Lord's glory rises, His presence upon you, His light surrounds you." That word is the anthem of your unveiling. The light has arrived, and it's not shining on you, it's shining from within you. It's what's left after the breaking, what emerges after the refining. Glory is not added to you, it's awakened in you, and now that awakening has begun. The radiance inside you is no longer dormant. Heaven has decided it's time for the world to see what has been hidden. You will walk into spaces where your very presence shifts the atmosphere. Not because of who you are, but because of who walks with you. The same spirit that hovered over creation now moves through your words, your actions, your being. You have become a vessel of divine reflection. This unveiling will surprise even you. Doors will open where walls once stood. Favor will find you where rejection once lingered. The people who once overlooked you will be drawn to the light now resting upon your life. They won't understand it, but they'll feel it. Glory doesn't argue, it simply illuminates. Beloved, the revelation of your glory is not about competition. You're not shining to outshine others. You're shining to confirm that God still transforms what the world discards. Your success will not humiliate, it will heal. Your rise will not provoke, it will inspire. You are becoming proof that brokenness and beauty can coexist, that wounds can still worship, that ashes can still birth splendor. The glory about to rest on you carries weight. It's not a fleeting moment, it's a mantle. It will require humility to hold it, gratitude to sustain it, and purity to protect it. Glory attracts attention, but you must remember the light you carry isn't yours to keep. It's meant to reflect back to the source. Every blessing, every platform, every moment of honor is an echo of grace. Chosen one. This revelation will draw people to you, but your task is to direct them upward. Glory misused becomes pride, but glory stewarded becomes purpose. As you rise, your humility will become your greatest strength. Stay grounded in prayer, anchored in truth, and clothed in gentleness. When the world sees you shining, they'll think it happened overnight. But you'll know the truth that every sleepless night, every lonely prayer, every unseen sacrifice was a brushstroke in the masterpiece God was painting. This is not a sudden success. It's a slow miracle reaching its fullness. You are about to witness restoration in radiant form, relationships mended, resources multiplied, dreams resurrected. But even greater than these will be the peace that now clothes you. You no longer need to prove your worth. The light speaks for you. The glory confirms it. Chosen one. This is the moment creation has been waiting for, the revealing of those marked by heaven's hand. You are part of that revelation. You are not emerging from the dark. You are carrying the dawn itself. Let your spirit rest in awe. The hiding is over. The unveiling has begun. And what the world will see in you is not the evidence of striving, but the reflection of glory born from surrender. Chosen one. There comes a moment in every divine story when everything makes sense. The waiting, the breaking, the hidden years. All of it suddenly fits together like pieces of a long-forgotten puzzle. You are standing at that moment now. Heaven has turned the final page of your preparation, and you are stepping into the chapter of becoming. For so long, you've looked ahead, wondering when it would all finally align. You've prayed for confirmation, for direction, for the tangible proof that you're ready. But here is the truth: readiness is not a feeling, it is a state of surrender. And because you have surrendered, you are ready. Heaven's prophecy over you is no longer something distant, it is being fulfilled in real time. There is a stillness in the air before the dawn, a holy pause before history turns. That is where you stand. All that you have endured has not only prepared you for this moment, it has shaped you into it. The person who once doubted now believes. The one who once hid now carries light. The one who once questioned every delay now understands timing as mercy. The Word of God declares in the letter to the Philippians, chapter 1, verse 6, "He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus." That verse is not a hope, it is a guarantee. The same hand that started the transformation within you will not leave it unfinished. You are not being abandoned mid-story. You are being revealed mid-miracle. The brush of heaven continues to paint, and the image is beginning to shine through. Becoming is not a single moment, it is the unfolding of divine identity. Every layer of you that once felt fragmented is now being woven into wholeness. The battles that used to define you are becoming the foundation beneath you. The wounds that once ached now whisper wisdom. The voice that once trembled now carries power. You are not returning to who you were. You are emerging as who you were always meant to be. Chosen one. Becoming means walking in both softness and strength. It means being fearless in purpose yet tender in compassion. It means knowing when to roar and when to rest. The divine within you is awakening balance, the harmony between power and peace, boldness and grace. The world will sense it before they understand it. Your presence will carry an unspoken weight that calms storms around you. But remember, becoming is not about performance. You do not have to prove your transformation. The tree does not announce its growth, it simply blooms. Likewise, you will not need to tell people who you are. They will know by the fruit you bear. Peace will follow your steps. Wisdom will dwell in your words. Favor will flow where you move. That is the evidence of divine identity. In this season, God is aligning your inner life with your outer calling. What you believe about yourself will begin to manifest through your actions. You will stop second-guessing and start walking with quiet certainty. You'll notice that the right doors no longer require force, they recognize you. The right people will no longer need convincing, they resonate with your spirit. You are in sync with destiny's rhythm. And yet, in this unfolding, Humility must remain your anchor. Every becoming requires remembering. You must never forget the wilderness that birthed your wisdom or the tears that watered your roots. Gratitude will keep you from drifting into pride. Every time the light shines upon you, turn your heart upward and whisper, "It was always you, Lord." That whisper is your crown of humility, the proof that the glory has not corrupted the vessel. Beloved, the world you step into now will mirror the transformation within you. You will attract peace because you carry it. You will inspire courage because you live it. You will awaken faith because you embody it. You are no longer reacting to life, you are creating from divine alignment. This is the season when what was spiritual becomes visible. The promises you once only sensed in prayer will begin to materialize. The dreams that lingered in your heart will start to breathe. The call that felt distant will echo clearly. Heaven has not changed its mind about you, it is fulfilling what it has always planned. Chosen one, your becoming is not just your story, it's a prophecy to those watching. Every step you take whispers to others. Transformation is possible. You are the living proof that surrender leads to strength, that faith outlasts failure, that grace can rebuild what fear destroyed. So walk forward now, not rushed, not anxious, but radiant. Carry the peace of one who knows that destiny has already said yes. The winds of heaven are behind you, and the light of purpose is before you. You are not trying to arrive. You already are. You have become chosen one. If these words have reached the deep places of your soul, then heaven has done what it intended. You've walked through the journey from breaking to becoming, and now you stand clothed in peace. Every message you've received here is not just story, but seed. Let it grow in you. Let it change how you walk, how you speak, how you see yourself. If this series has touched your heart, share it as a small act of light. You never know whose midnight it might illuminate. A simple like, a quiet share. A heartfelt comment can become a spark in someone else's wilderness. Your reflection could be the confirmation another soul is praying for right now. And if you wish to stay connected, to keep walking in this flow of divine encouragement, subscribe and return often. Together we build not a following, but a fellowship, a circle of light bearers who refuse to let darkness have the final word. Comment below what spoke to you most. Let your words become part of this living altar of testimony. Beloved, your journey doesn't end here. It continues stronger, clearer, brighter. The world awaits your light.